You know, it's really interesting because I get asked this question a lot, but only by the victors. Like, every time I have ever answered this question, the person's like, that's right, that's what I said. So I'm always pleased by that. But I also feel like, honestly, you know, when you make up names, pronounce them however you want, really. You know, I have pronounced things a certain way, you know, in books over the years, and when I find out it's not pronounced that way, it always makes me sad. Just keep pronouncing it the way you like. All the way in the back of the page.
How many people are actually involved in your writing process?
How many people are involved in our writing process? It depends on the book. But I personally have 2 critique partners who have been like my critique partners for a long time. I have Cassie, and I have my friend Steve, and he's, you know, like back when it was there for a long time, it was just me and him. We were the only writers that either one of us really knew. And so, you know, I will show them anything. I will show them really rough stuff, really rough scenes, and just be like, does this even make sense? Where am I going? Is this good? And sometimes it's actually really, really helpful to hear that something is good, because it's really easy to change stuff that's actually working because you get crazy. So there's that, and then I have, we both have actually a critique group that meets only when the book is done. They only see it then, and they'll sit in a circle and fight with one another. It's awesome.
I read on your blog, Cassandra, that you're going to share some movie news with us.
I briefly talked to the producers, and I was supposed to meet with them in New York before coming here, but I got sick and couldn't do it, so it got postponed. So now, sadly, we were going to have a whole light conversation about what was going to happen, but all I know is that the script is done and that they're looking for a director. So that is the news that I have. So they finished this.
Many more questions all of a sudden.
Yes. Oh, okay, thank you. I have 2 questions. First of all, I love the gloves. Where'd you get them?
I got these on eBay.
I like them. Second question for both of you. Were you surprised about your demographic as far as, you know, the older audience? Like myself? Younger, older audience.
I'm not actually surprised that adults read YA, and that, you know, probably half of the audience for books in the teen section now are adults. And I think that the reason for that is that, I mean, these are coming of age stories. You know, for a long time, what is now published as teen was published as adult. When I was a kid, there was not the same kind of teen section there is now. You went to reading adult books, and many of them were about young people, because when you are first making decisions, you're making really big, important decisions, which is why so much of fantasy is about young people, which is also why so much of fantasy is now being republished in the teen section.
Right, I mean, when they were published, Lord of the Flies, A Separate Piece, The High Wind in Jamaica, all those books,
Ender's Game,
Catcher in the Rye, were all published as adult. They would now all be published as teen. So the people who read them then are reading them now. They're just finding them in the teen section. I wasn't surprised. Holly's book came out earlier than mine. Your first book came out 2002, and my first book came out 2007. So she was pre-Twilight. I was after Twilight, and by then we had sort of cottoned on to the fact that a lot of adults were reading YA books. So I wasn't surprised. I would say like 45 to 50% of my readers are 20 and up.
But it's really funny how many are like, well, you know.
I've never gotten a letter from someone as old as me before, and I'm like, no.
I'm older than you.
Well, once I got a letter from somebody who was like 100, and I was like, you're right, I have it. Congratulations.
Great. Okay, I have a question. First of all, I like you all. Second of all, do you guys ever have fans submit stuff that they've written and then you read it and help them out at all?
We're really mean.
We're really not. We are encouraged not to do that for various reasons. But the biggest reason, honestly, is that we usually don't have time. Sometimes sometimes we teach at certain places, and during that time, I have taught at several different places, both for teens and for older writers. I'm teaching at Alpha this year, which is a teen fantasy workshop. I've taught a Juniper workshop. There's a workshop, Shared Worlds, which is all science fiction, actually teaches you how to develop a world, and I've taught at Clarion. And so during those times, I set aside that time and really intensely work with whoever I'm working with, but the rest of the time, unfortunately, I have to write and also I have a bunch of friends for whom I also have to read and critique.
Yeah, I would agree. We're very strongly encouraged not to do that by our publishers for legal reasons. Anyone can send you a story about a unicorn, you can throw it away, and 3 years later you can publish a book that has a unicorn in it, and they can sue you, claiming that you stole their idea that unicorns exist. So and unpublished work has a different legal standing than published work. It's actually more protected. We are really strongly encouraged not to read unpublished work except in the context of a workshop or something where there's accountability, other people will have seen it too. So it is a real bummer that there are crazy people out there. Most people are really nice, but when you get stuff in your inbox, you never know. So.
This is for Claire. Why did Max have to die in the last book?
Well, now everybody knows. It's okay, it's been a year. Yeah, if you haven't read it by now, you're not going to read it. Because, so the question is, why did Max have to die in the third book? And the answer is that because there was a war going on in that book, and I believe if you're writing a book that has a war, and the only casualties are people that the audience, the readers have never met, it won't feel real to them. And I also felt like to kill someone, a child, someone who's only 9 years old, someone who's not even involved in the fighting, shows the collateral damage of war. That war doesn't just affect the people who are actually fighting, who you might expect to get injured and hurt, but also the, children, passers-by, anyone who happens to be there, that, how destructive it is. And thirdly, I wanted to show, once and for all, how evil the person who killed him was, because I didn't want people to hold out any hope for his redemption. But that didn't work, because they still did.
I just want to tell you how much I've enjoyed this evening. I've never read one of your books. But my 14-year-old granddaughter loves you. She said, "Betty, could you take me?" I said, "I sure will, because if she loves you that much, you must be perfect." And my next question is, how you were saying all of the things going on in your life. Where is home? And is there a personal life? Do you have time for it?
We both live in Massachusetts, and the last few years I have been traveling a ton, and so I'm actually really looking forward to this summer. I'm not traveling as much, I don't have as much going on, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot of grilling this summer, a lot of grilling.
Spiders in your grill.
I'll grill them.